Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, of course, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.show.com. That's thetavismiley.show.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, two conversations. Up first, a dialogue with the journalist, researcher, and author John Lechner about how partnerships between private military companies and government are leading to the erosion, indeed the end, of civil liberties. That's the top of hour two. On the B side of hour two,
when I was a young woman, there was no one there to tell me, it's not what you think, it's not the whole story. There is another narrative.
It's really not divided among Palestinians versus Israelis, between people that bring this war energy and people that bring harmony and peaceful and freedom energy. This is the division I see here, like a war of consciousness.
There is another way is not only something limited to Israel-Palestine. It is a choice to be made everywhere. And it's a perpetual choice. It's not that you do it and you're done with it. It's every day.
Filmmaker and social entrepreneur Stephen Apkon on his new documentary, There Is Another Way. There Is Another Way. And his work supporting Israelis and Palestinians coming together in the midst of war and uncertainty. A powerful doc. We'll talk to Stephen about it on the backside of hour two. In our third hour, two more conversations. Up first,
get down? Tell me, what you gonna do? Do you wanna get down? What you gonna do? You wanna get down? What you gonna do? You wanna get down? Tell me. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Come on in. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. How you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance? By standing on the wall. Get your back up off the wall. Tell me.
Man, that sounds good.
How you gonna do it if
You can let it ride for another 20 seconds, but I do have a show to do. I heard all the people saying.
Get down on it. Come on in. Get down on it. If you really want it. Get down on it. You gotta feel it. Get down on it.
All right. Cool in the Game musical director and keyboardist Curtis Fitzwilliams joins us live in studio to discuss a very special posthumous jazz project from Cool in the Gang's co-founder George Brown. The project is called Jazz in Paris. We'll talk about it and play some sound from the new project Jazz in Paris at the top of Hour 3. On the B side of Hour 3, actress Sky P. Marshall on her quite fascinating journey from high school prom queen to the U.S. Air Force to now a starring role on the CBS reboot of Matlock. Fascinating journey for Sky Marshall. She'll join us on the backside of Hour 3 to tell us all about that. But in this first hour today, let's talk politics for the owner, publisher, and editrix, I think that's the right word, of the political blog Wonkette, Rebecca Shonoff. Rebecca, how are you today?
Good morning in Los Angeles, Mr. Tavis Smiley.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you for asking.
It is good to have you on. Did I say that? Is that word right? Editrix?
Absolutely.
What does that mean? I said it. I don't know what it means.
It's a female editor.
Okay.
Because, we should always genderize everything for sure. Don't you think?
Yeah. Why not? Why not? If you like it, I love it. So editrix, a new word for some of us. I've got it now. Let me, before I get into the issues, and there's a whole lot to cover in this hour, Rebecca, and I'm delighted to have you on for the hour. I was reading last night in preparing for our conversation about your backstory. And as an owner myself, I'm always fascinated by the backstories of owners, particularly your backstory. Just take a minute or two right quickly to tell me how you came to be the owner of Wonkette, formerly owned by Gawker. We all know the Gawker story. We ain't going to get into that today. But formerly owned by Gawker, you now own Wonkette. But the backstory of how, to your point about gender, you came to be the owner fascinates me. Tell me right quick the backstory.
Sure. And let me just be servicey and let your listeners know that it's WONKETTE.com.
Right.
So they can go online and get some really hilarious, terrible, vulgar, raunchy, liberal, progressive news.
There you go.
We are not for everybody, but the people we are for, we are for. So I was 38 years old. I'd been in newspapers since 1991, and I had quit a newspaper job in 2007, which was a very, very bad time to quit a newspaper job. It's 2012. I've gone back to grad school at USC. I've gotten my master's because I needed the money, and they gave me $20,000 to go there. Yay, USC, sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm still unemployed, and now it's 5 years later. A guy I had gone on one date with, and then he stood me up for my own birthday party, emailed me many, many, many years later and said, I want to sell Wonkette and I think you should buy it. And I said, I am unemployed and have no money. And he said, well, you'll pay me a certain amount over the next 10 years. It was $37 and a sandwich. And then I had just had this horrible infection in my breast. It's the night before my 39th birthday. I get the call from the doctor I had gone to County USC, been in line for 13 hours because I was, of course, uninsured. And then I was in line for 3 hours the next day to pick up my medication. So I was like, if I'm dying of inflammatory breast disease, I'm certainly not going to go to County USC. I'm going to die in medical debt. So I went over to Cedars-Sinai. And the head of the breast center said, oh, honey, it's not inflammatory breast disease, which kills you in 6 weeks. It's just an infection. You're fine. Go on, live your merry life. And then Ken Lane, who is the owner of Wonket at that point, emailed me at my 39th birthday, offered to sell me this thing. For the first 2 years, I made $2,000. I started work at 5:30 in the morning and worked until 10 p.m. I was drinking by noon. I was crying by 2.
Hold that thought. Drinking by noon, crying by 2. We'll pick a story over there in just a second. It's a big deal. Ownership is a very big deal, particularly in the media space. And this backstory, again, of how she got to be the owner is fascinating. More about that, and then we'll cover some issues in this hour of Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
This is an ad by BetterHelp. Think about your mentors and idols, the people who inspire you the most. While it may look like they have all the answers, they don't. But they do know when to ask questions and seek the support they need. In a world that glorifies hyper-independence, it's easy to forget that we're all better with a support system. Therapy is a great way to find a consistent source of support in your life, so you can break free from the outdated belief that seeking help is a sign of weakness. BetterHelp has experienced therapists ready to help you with challenges ranging from anxiety and depression to relationships and stress. It's convenient, too. You can join a session with the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. You can even send your therapist a message anytime something comes up. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/ABC Radio today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ABC Radio.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
After producing an award-winning climate justice campaign in 2024, KBLA Talk 1580 has gone all in on its 2025 Climate Justice plus Black Health Initiative. April is Minority Health Month, and Urban Family Focus, in partnership with Providence Health Systems, presents The Heart of the Matter. Providence doctors and health equity officers will participate in informative and life-changing conversations on hypertension, health equity, behavioral health, and community engagement. Don't miss these empowering conversations on Urban Family Focus every Saturday in April at 7 and Sunday at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sponsored by Providence, Southern California's largest and most comprehensive health care network. We've got a lot to talk about on KBLA Talk 1580. Download the KBLA 1580 app or log in to KBLA1580.com. I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. On KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Rebecca Shonoff, who is the owner and publisher and editrix. There's your word of the day, editrix of the political blog Wonket.com. All right, Rebecca, when we last left you, you were drinking by noon, you were crying by 2. I'm afraid to ask what happened by 5, but pick up the story for me.
By 5, I was yelling at my commenters that they didn't appreciate me. And they were a motley crew of they were my terrible ones, just the worst people in the world. I love them very much. So after a few years, you are working and with advertising, the bottom fell out of the online advertising market. Mm-hmm. And I was getting pennies on the dollar for these ads, and I was hiring people, so I wasn't just a one-woman show. When I first got there, they were paying $10 a post to the freelancers. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I hired some people full-time with benefits, very good benefits. And I said, you guys, I can't do the online ads anymore. Everybody send me some money or we're going to die. And everybody sent me some money. I put on a PayPal button. I put on a Stripe button, and everybody started sending me money. And then I was able to hire more people. We've got 6 full-time writers now. And freelancers who do make a good, decent wage.
Sure.
And it it's sort of like consider the lilies of the field. They neither sow nor reap, but even God and even Solomon in all his splendor is not arrayed as one of these. And I said, come on, you guys, it's the lilies of the field. Send me money. And they sent me money. And that's what we do. I never have a paywall. I never block off content for our paying subscribers because what is the use of being right if nobody knows, if nobody's learning from you, if nobody's getting the correct information? All they're seeing out there, Fox News doesn't have a paywall.
That's right.
Breitbart doesn't have a paywall.
Yep.
We have got to get our true, correct, informed, educated information out to everybody because people are stupid.
Yeah. I hear. Let me pick up on that last line. I've had this conversation many times with my friend Bill Maher, of course, of HBO fame. And Bill has opined many times. I think people are actually maybe even tired of hearing Bill say this, and he may be right, though. I think that we are witnessing the dumbing down of our demos, and that's putting it charitably and gently. That we're experiencing the dumbing down of our demos. When you say people are stupid. Again, it's one cat, so I get it. But seriously though, what's your sense of whether or not our demos is in fact more dumbed down now than ever before? So that whether you're putting truth or false narratives out, what difference does it make?
I think a huge number of our people don't care to learn anything. They have no idea even that anything has happened. My husband was out in Oregon or Vancouver, Washington a few weeks ago visiting his brother right when, oh God, was he first talking about the tariffs? When he was first talking about the tariffs. And, on the left and even in places like the Wall Street Journal, people were freaking out. This is going to be a huge issue. Everybody's already concerned with the cost of living and it's going to skyrocket. And the places he was out in Washington had the news on all day and it was never mentioned. None of this was ever mentioned. Everybody else is running around with their hair on fire, but people think they're watching the news and they're getting none of this information that everybody thought was a major story. And those are people who are specifically selecting to watch the news. I'd say, 60% don't watch the news at all?
That's scary. In a moment like this. So how do you break through? How do you break through with the truth?
Well, I don't do any advertising.
Right.
I don't pay Google to show my stuff to people. I don't pay Twitter. We're not actually on Twitter anymore. We've moved over to Blue Sky, which is really a collegial kind of place. I like it a lot. And it's just as back in the day, first of all, on Twitter, you were getting the news as it happened. I knew 45 minutes before we killed bin Laden or not before we killed him, but before President Obama announced it, I knew he was coming out to announce it. I called my mom and said, Mom, turn on the TV. Obama's going to say we killed bin Laden. I learned that on Twitter. And people are hilarious and people are smart and you've got every kind of expert. Most of those people have left and a lot of them have found themselves over on Blue Sky. I like it a lot.
Yeah. In this moment, and there's great debate about this, of course, and people are taking different sides of this question, but I want to get your take on the question itself. And the question is whether in this moment of Trump 2.0, to capitulate or to resist. Do you capitulate or do you resist? And we're seeing all kinds of organizations, institutions, colleges, law firms who are wrestling with that question every single day. Do we capitulate or do we resist? Talk to me, Rebecca.
Well, I'm not a big name. I'm not the first person they're going to come after. But, they might seize my bank accounts. I was scared. He was definitely making sure we all knew that we were going to be watched and we were going to be reported and there was going to be a problem. And then I got over it. And I wasn't scared anymore. He's not going to deport me to El Salvador, although he could. But I'm so shocked to see the colleges and these massive law firms lie down at the first threat. The first threat. I I'm actually shocked by that. These people have billions of dollars. He's not going to stop hurting them just because they rolled over. They could, and what I say about the billions of dollars, for instance, the college endowments, they didn't need to roll over. They could have hunkered down and kept going. And the only one I've seen that actually has stood up is Tufts College, Tufts University, demanding their graduate student back who was stolen off the street for writing an op-ed. And it looks like they are going to get her back. They said that there has been good news on this front. She is going to be released. I don't think she has been released yet. I haven't seen a follow-up on that. But, they're stealing students off the street, not for punching anybody, not for fighting a cop on campus, but for writing op-eds with which they disagree. This is unbelievable. It is unbelievable that the colleges, except for Tufts, are not standing up and calling them out and demanding freedom of association, freedom of expression, due process, freedom from fear.
There's news today. I was reading it in advance of coming on this program with you. I think I was reading in the New York Times that the U.S. has so far revoked visas for nearly 150 international students. That's just in recent days. Again, no naivete here in asking this, but why do you think they're going so hard on students, on international students? Why so hard on students?
Marco Rubio said it was close to 300.
Okay.
And he is able to do that as Secretary of State because of some wording that he can literally revoke, not citizenship, but he can revoke a green card. He can revoke your legal right to be here. And so he's done so because Trump promised we would get rid of immigrants. And Trump promised that I'm Jewish. And so he's promised that Jews would be safe. No Jewish person I know feels safe with Trump deporting people based on their speech. But, people who backed Palestine and told Israel, when Israel kept going with its invasion of Gaza long after it could possibly be considered, what is it when, you punch somebody and they punch you back? What am I thinking of? Oh, come on, words. I'm a professional writer.
Yeah.
It could no longer possibly be considered
Quid pro quo?
Retaliation.
Yeah.
Not those. I'll come up with it in two hours. But anybody who was the slightest bit anti-Israel seems to be getting their green cards revoked and their permission to be here. This does not make Jews feel safe, trust me.
Yeah. And then there's news that the Supreme Court, of course, has allowed Trump to continue, for the moment at least, using this Wartime Powers Act to deport Venezuelan migrants for now. The key phrase is for now. What's your sense of, and I could do this all day long if I had the time, but I could literally run through, and I'm not making this up because I'm looking at it right now. I could literally run through 10 issues if I had the time on which various courts have ruled in different ways.
Yeah.
How are you reading this moment where, the judiciary is all over the place? And I mean, obviously, in many respects, they have represented, I would call them speed bumps for Donald Trump at the moment. But the judiciary is all over the place on all of these orders. It's extremely chaotic. What's your read of all that?
So, John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, he keeps doing this thing. He's done this over and over again, where if it looks like Trump is just simply going to ignore a judge's ruling, he comes up with some sort of reason why he's not in contempt. So the first time it was when he refused to give back the national security documents he'd stolen on his way out the door the first place, the ones he was keeping in boxes down in the Mar-a-Lago bathroom, on the stage in the Mar-a-Lago ballroom, just boxes and boxes. They'd get knocked over. There were national security secrets spilling out everywhere. He refused to give them back. So we're all waiting for this decision. Finally, John Roberts comes out with it. It is that no matter what the president does, it's not illegal, just like Nixon used to say. It was unbelievable. This was literally the opposite of what we wrote in our Declaration of Independence 250 years now. For them to say that the president is a king and can do what he wants and is above the law. Everybody's losing their minds at this, right? So now Justice Roberts comes out with another one last night, and that is that Trump can simply deport people who are legally permitted to be here without any sort of due process. Now they're claiming that they'll be able to submit a suit for habeas corpus, which is show me the body. But he's saying, sure, he can use this War Powers Act because obviously we're at war with Venezuela. And so these people have been deported already. At least one of them was, in air quotes, I'm doing very dramatic air quotes with my fingers right now, by accident. And the judge said, oh, you sent him by accident, you better bring him back. Well, Trump very much did not want to bring him back, even though it was by accident. And they're saying, oh, this judge is out of his mind to tell El Salvador what to do. No, he's telling you what to do. You get on a plane, you go to El Salvador, and you get the guy back. He's in prison because we asked El Salvador to put him in this supermax prison. So they're saying, oh, well, there's really nothing we can do about that. But in the future, they'll have to have due process and habeas corpus rights. But we can't do it as a class for all these people who've already been deported, 75% of whom have no criminal records whatsoever. They're all here. We're here legally under temporary protected status for Venezuelans because their country was a mess. And we said, yeah, come on in. You can live here for a few years. You'll be fine. You can get a job. You can work. You can marry and have little American babies. And now, 5 years later, we've sent you to a supermax in El Salvador.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court says, well, nothing you can really do about that. But in the future, they get to see a judge first. Maybe. But that'll be in Louisiana or Texas. So it's going to be a bad judge.
Yeah, either way, exactly. Rebecca Shonoff is our guest in this first hour, the owner and publisher and editrix of the political blog Wonkette. That's wonkette.com. More with her when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Black Maryland Governor Wes Moore clarified that he is not running for president in 2028 during an interview with the Baltimore Sun. The Democrat says instead he's focusing on re-election in 2026 to continue his work for the state. The Supreme Court ruled 5-4 to allow the DOJ to remove alleged Venezuelan gang members under the Alien Enemies Act, ending a lower court freeze and enabling President Trump to speed up removals. A Senate budget plan may face Republican opposition in the White House, with 2 conservatives vowing to vote against it. The Senate proposes $4 billion in cuts, while the House demands $1.5 trillion. GOP members Andy Ogles and Ralph Norman criticized the proposal as dead on arrival. And Florida won the men's college basketball national championship, defeating Houston 65-63 after rallying from a 12-point deficit. This is their first title since 2007. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers have lost 3 of their last 4 games after losing to the Washington Nationals 6-4 Monday night. Monday morning, when the Dodgers visited the White House to be honored by President Trump for winning the World Series last season, all the players and staff wore a suit and tie. Somebody should have made the suggestion that everybody in the Dodgers group wear a number 42 Jackie Robinson jersey to the ceremony. That would have been a huge statement and a message to Trump that the Dodgers organization firmly stands behind Major League Baseball's first black player. Under orders from Trump, Trump, the U.S. Defense Department 2 weeks ago removed a story from its website about Robinson's military service before he signed with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Enormous criticism of the move forced the Defense Department to put Robinson's story back on their website. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, and it's almost time to celebrate KBLA's 4th anniversary, coming up Juneteenth 2025. We'll be marking the achievement with 4 key community events, including a special symposium, luncheon, and brain trust hosted by me entitled The State of Black Women in Los Angeles. Keep it locked here for details on how to join us for this groundbreaking symposium examining the unique challenges, triumphs, and contributions of Black women in Los Angeles in the areas of education, healthcare, community leadership, cultural and political contributions. This public convocation will provide a critical forum to address the specific social, economic, and political realities facing Black women in LA today. We'll go live with a radio broadcast and YouTube live stream, a public discussion, and a private dialogue with some of LA's most impactful women. It's an affirmation of Black women standing at the intersection of race and gender in times of adversity while demonstrating remarkable resilience and leadership. We will listen and we will speak out and be heard, all in service of finding opportunities and solutions. Please plan to join us in celebrating our 4th anniversary by amplifying the voices of Black women. For more on our symposium and 4 events celebrating 4 years on the air, simply stay tuned or keep an eye on KBLA1580.com and help make this Juneteenth more jubilant with all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Rebecca Shonoff, who is the owner and publisher and editrix of the political blog Wonket. Pleased to have her on this program at our first hour today. So I want to pivot from Trump now, if I can, Rebecca, to the other side, the Democrats. And this new war room that they've launched to counter Trump and Republicans. Number one, you saw Adam Schiff and the shadow hearing that they had. We've talked, of course, over the past few days about Cory Booker's 25-hour speech. And then, of course, there's Bernie and AOC out doing their tour. Everybody's doing a little something. As I keep saying, it seems fractured to me. But what's your read of how Democrats are showing up or not showing up in this particular moment?
Okay. hate to be negative. I am such a beam of sunshine. However, I am that woman who is always defending Democrats. They couldn't help it. They only had 59 senators instead of 60. So the this and that. I'm constantly defending the Democrats 100% of the time. I have been so angry since the inauguration. Chuck Schumer, all the rest of them, just absolutely lying down, letting him steamroll over them. I know they don't have the majority. I get that. But it took 3 months before Cory Booker stood up and did that magnificent, magnificent 25-hour filibuster, the kind you actually have to talk at, not just like Mitch McConnell used to do, say the words, "we filibuster," and Chuck Schumer would go, "Oh, well, okay, we'll just move on to the next business." So what happened as soon as Cory Booker signed off with more words from John Lewis, the very next thing, some guy from Idaho, I don't remember whether it was Rich or Crapo, either one of them are bad, said, okay, so now we'll move on to unanimous consent to start talking about Deputy Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, who is most famous as the big dick toilet guy. And what did they do? They gave him unanimous consent. After 25 hours of filibuster, they didn't say, no, actually, we don't give unanimous consent to start voting on this. Not at all. We, like our colleague Cory Booker, are going to stand up and stop things somehow. I've been losing my mind. All that work he did, all the people were so excited. Hundreds of thousands of people were watching a live stream of a senator filibustering. And it was more and more and more as the day went on by the time he finally finished after 25 hours. And what did they immediately do? They threw it all away. I was so angry.
Yeah.
Now, you can always trust Elizabeth Warren. Bernie's been great. I was mad at him for a long time about 2016. We held on to a lot of those hurts for a long time on the Bernie side and the Hillary side. But I don't see room for that anymore. And if anybody's still holding on to that, it's really time to let go and let God.
I wonder whether or not I wonder whether or not, Rebecca, you think these hands-off protests that were all across the country over the weekend. We talked a bit about this yesterday on the program, but wonder whether or not you think these protests against Trump and Musk across the country matter. Do these protests mean anything in this moment?
So I live here in Detroit, Michigan, and my daughter, my husband, and I went to the Detroit Institute of Arts, and we marched 1.5 miles each way down Woodward, and there were thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and the signs were great, and
Yeah.
it was wonderful.
I love the signs.
The crowd was
Yeah.
mostly white. It's been pointed out to me,
Yeah.
and I get that. I guess a lot of Black people are going, you know what? We've done our work, and now it's your guys' turn. And certainly people driving by and honking, 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 honking were Black. But the crowd was really white, and it is what it is. I don't have a problem with that, but I posted a bunch of photos on Reddit, and people are like, white crowd, white crowd, white crowd. Oh, look who's not afraid of downtown, the white suburbanites, But Detroit is about 10% white in the city, so I think we were all there.
Yeah.
But it was wonderful, and my daughter's 9, and she did show me what democracy looks like, and the response, this is what democracy looks like, was so gigantic and huge and immediate, like I cannot even describe it. And she was so proud, and she said, Mom, I felt really empowered. And I said, that's because you are empowered, sweetheart. It was great. We loved it. But it first of all, we all need a day to feel that. I went to the Women's March in 2017 when she was a baby, and there were millions of people there. It was crazy, and we needed it. We needed to be together. But also, people need to see that there were 1,300 protests around the country, getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, or thousands of people in the reddest parts of the reddest states. People need to see that. Congress needs to see that, because they need to know that we are behind them, that we have their backs, and that we're pushing them. And then one really specific thing that happened, I think the town is called Sackett's Harbor. I don't have it looked up. New York, a family of immigrants had been arrested, including the third grader, handcuffed, taken to ICE jail. And it's the hometown of Tom Homan, the border czar. 1,500 people live there. 1,000 people were out marching, and they marched to his house.
Wow.
That family is on its way out of jail.
Yeah.
The school said that they've been in contact and they're letting them go. I don't know if they've been let go yet, but they are being released. The third grader they handcuffed, the 10th grader they handcuffed, and the 8th grader they handcuffed, as well as I think their mom. You know, so 1,000 people in a red town of 1,500 were marching for a very specific thing, their neighbors. And people listened, and I think that matters.
I want to pick up on this point you made a moment ago. Although there is, I heard a little bit of snark, just a little bit, about the white people in the protest in downtown Detroit and the black folks.
I'm white.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. You're white. You're entitled to a certain level of snark. And I heard the point about the black people driving by in their cars honking in support of you white people marching in downtown Detroit. But it made me think seriously, though, of a piece I read a couple of days ago, and I want to just read a couple paragraphs from this piece. And if you've not seen this essay, this audience knows I'm always sharing with them what I'm reading and encouraging them not just to read what I read, but as a point of reference at least. I like to share what I'm talking about. So here's a guest essay that was written for the New York Times by Christina Greer, a political scientist who studies black ethics, politics, and public opinion. Christina Greer is the author of the piece. Find it for yourself. You have to read it, especially if you're black, or if you're white for that matter. Actually, more for white people. The headline, though, Rebecca, is Black Americans Are Not Surprised. Sure. Black Americans are not surprised. Let me read just a few paragraphs from her piece. How can this be happening in America? These people ask, the white people. How can this be happening in America? This is not the country I know. The country of rights and laws and due process, close quote. She's paraphrasing, of course, the white people. Continue reading here. Needless to say, these people are almost all white and liberal and are not used to feeling this kind of arbitrary, brutal state authority. But this moment, the one that was explicitly promised by Project 2025 in Donald Trump when he was a candidate, looks a lot like what my grandmother experienced every day for much of her life. It is frightening and disappointing, but not surprising if one knows anything about the black experience in America. So there's your answer to why the black folk didn't show up, because it is frightening. It is disappointing, but it's not surprising if you know anything about the black experience in America. And we're not talking about the sanitized version of, Kumbaya, we shall overcome. You jump from Harriet Tubman to Frederick Douglass to MLK and Rosa Parks. Boom, Obama's president. Not that sanitized version. that ain't what we're talking about. But if you understand the journey of black folk in America, black people are not surprised. That's the essay in the New York Times. I implore you to read it more with Rebecca Shonoff when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting. On Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominic DePrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate Day 100 since the wildfires flared up, and we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 Days and Counting Town Hall, Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. The first 100 attendees will receive a complimentary air purifier. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Rebecca Shonoff of Wonkette. So Rebecca, did that particular passage resonate with you? That we got a bunch of white folk, white liberal folk in this country who just aren't used to feeling this kind of arbitrary, brutal state authority, but black folk are used to this.
Well, and I realize that. I promise. It's true, but we got a taste of it the first term.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was so insane every day. My hair was falling out in clumps, and that's how I knew things were just, as soon as Joe Biden was inaugurated, my hair stopped falling out in clumps every day. So this time, even though it's so much worse
Mm-hmm.
as far as what they're trying to do and what they're doing out of the gate, I'm better prepared for it emotionally.
Yeah.
I'm not freaking out all the time. I'm horrified and I'm a little vomity, but I'm not, crying in a puddle on the floor, generally.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I've seen a lot of those too. This is not who we are, and black people going, oh, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at a history book,
Exactly.
meet somebody over the age of 60,
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, how old is Ruby Bridges? Is she 65 yet even?
Yeah, she's in there. Yeah, it's a good question. I have no Ruby. I don't know her age, but she's getting up there. What's your? I want to phrase this the right way. What's your sense of the condition of truth in America right about now?
It's very bad.
Mm-hmm.
It is very bad, and it's about to get so much worse with the deep fakes and everything. Everything will be fake, and then also Trump is firing all the advisory panels that overlook the data for every agency. So among everybody else he's firing, your cancer researchers, people are showing up for their chemo and it's been canceled because the cancer study's been canceled.
Yep.
The cancer researchers, everybody in the world is being fired from the government right now, but among them are the people who make sure the data is true. So there will no longer be such a thing as, correct employment numbers or correct maternal mortality numbers, which are particularly of interest to Black women, as you and your listeners know.
Mm-hmm.
How much more do Black women die of maternal mortality? 5 times or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to have any idea how many people have just died after having a baby. And it's gone up in Texas a whole lot after the abortion was outlawed there several years ago. Maternal mortality has exploded there. Well, there won't be any numbers. We won't know how many measles cases there are. We won't know where the measles cases are going and coming. Those people are all being fired. People who track diseases, people who track if there's something wrong with your meat, all got fired yesterday.
Yeah.
So there won't be any truth. It'll just be what Elon Musk says on Twitter.
Yeah, that part. When we come forward in our remaining moments with Rebecca Shonoff, I have a question for her that I want to ask. Well, I'll hold it. But I've been thinking about this for the last 30 minutes. So stick around. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad
Texting
Council.
privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight, like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance, so it's as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with.
Before Zelfie, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelfie helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better.
Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed. I'm glad about it. Our guest is Rebecca Shonoff, the owner, publisher, and editrix of the political blog Wonkette. Just a few minutes left in this hour with her, 3 or 4 minutes to be exact. So here's the question, Rebecca, that I was thinking about as you were talking earlier. I love how you present. You're serious. You're smart. Obviously, you know what you're talking about. You own and publish this blog every day, and you have a sense of humor. And I've laughed a few times throughout this conversation, even as we're talking about very serious issues, which leads me to ask, given that Wonkette is liberal, I'm quoting now, liberal, terrible, and hilarious, is there a place in this moment where this experiment in democracy is, so fragile? Is there a place in this moment for humor?
Oh, I think there has to be.
Yeah.
And I'm very serious when I say I get emails every single day from people saying that we have saved their lives. And so I know it's true. I do them the honor of believing them. Because my writers, and I hardly write at all anymore. I've been doing this since 1991. I am out of words. So I've got these writers doing it for me. I just edit it and I put up the morning news post tabs, we call it. It goes up at 7 a.m. Eastern. And that's just, things you should know to start your day. All I can get out of myself is one line on any topic and I'm done, But I think it's incredibly important because otherwise we're all going to kill ourselves and nobody wants that. And the other thing is these fascists, and I don't say that lightly, and we all know they are fascists deploying fascism. They hate being laughed at. Oh, they hated it when Tim Walz called them weird. It was so mean. It was so rude. How could he call them weird and laugh at them? Well, you know what? They're weird and they should be mocked and pointed at and laughed. And we'll keep doing it until, they shut us down. Yeah. Which I wouldn't put past them.
Yeah. I think everybody in our space is looking out for that. And since you went there, how have you been reading so many people in our space, that is to say the media space, bending the knee?
I could not believe the LA Times and the Washington Post and the New York Times has been doing it for years. They're the ones who got everybody all head up at Columbia and Harvard in the first place, getting all these women fired for just absolutely made up reasons. I think the Times had something like 80 stories about the president of Harvard having misdone a citation in her thesis 40 years before until she resigned. I mean, it's ridiculous. But yeah, for the media to be doing that, I came up in the alt-weekly newspapers. I'm sure you remember them from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And it was a great time, and we got to say whatever we wanted. We did not have to pretend that we were neutral. We did not have to pretend anything. As long as we said what was true, we could say whatever we wanted. And that is my birthright as an American journalist. And I know we're about to be gone, so I just want to invite you to call anytime you want a middle-aged white woman in Detroit to yell at Donald Trump on your show. I am always available.
I will take you up on that in the months ahead, I am certain. She is Rebecca Shonoff, the owner, the publisher, the editrix of the political blog Wonket. Always ready, as she said, with a fun take on the serious political stories of the day. And I think she's right. That is as serious as these conversations are every day. At some point, we have to employ a sense of humor to get through this. And if anybody understands that, black folks certainly do. Rebecca, good to have you on. Thanks for your time. All the best to you.
Great talking to you. Thank you, Tavis.
Thank you for your time. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Black Maryland Governor Wes Moore clarified that he is not running for president in 2028 during an interview with the Baltimore Sun. The Democrat says instead he's focusing on re-election in 2026 to continue his work for the state. The Supreme Court ruled 5-4 to allow the DOJ to remove alleged Venezuelan gang members under the Alien Enemies Act, ending a lower court freeze and enabling President Trump to speed up removals. A Senate budget plan may face Republican opposition in the White House, with 2 conservatives vowing to vote against it. The Senate proposes $4 billion in cuts, while the House demands $1.5 trillion. GOP members Andy Ogles and Ralph Norman criticized the proposal as dead on arrival. And Florida won the men's college basketball national championship, defeating Houston 65-63 after rallying from a 12-point deficit. This is their first title since 2007. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
The Dodgers have lost 3 of their last 4 games after losing to the Washington Nationals 6-4 Monday night. Monday morning, when the Dodgers visited the White House to be honored by President Trump for winning the World Series last season, all the players and staff wore a suit and tie. Somebody should have made the suggestion that everybody in the Dodgers group wear a number 42 Jackie Robinson jersey to the ceremony. That would have been a huge statement and a message to Trump that the Dodgers organization firmly stands behind Major League Baseball's first black player. Under orders from Trump, the U.S. Defense Department 2 weeks ago removed a story from its website about Robinson's military service before he signed with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Enormous criticism of the move forced the Defense Department to put Robinson's story back on their website. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and for over 20 years, Parkside Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.